In Ontario's last economic update, the province's finance minister announced that Ontario would be partnering with the federal government to effectively double vape taxes. Public health experts, the World Health Organization, and the Canadian Cancer Society have stated that taxation is a critical public policy tool to reduce vaping, especially among young people. But the policy announcement isn't being well received by everyone. In fact, some are arguing that increasing taxation on vaping could create more smokers. Joining us now is one of those critics, Michael Landl, director of the World Vapers Alliance. Michael, thank you very much for joining us on Forum Daily.
Thank you for having me.
So, in regards to Ontario, how exactly is the province doubling the tax rate on vape products?
The way they plan it to do right now is to increase the already existing tax rate of the national level on the liquids. So basically doubling the existing price of every liquid sold in the province.
And what are we looking at price wise here? Do we have any idea of how much this increases the products that vapers use in Ontario?
I mean, that depends very much on the kind of product. So it depends which sizes of the products are bought. So, but that can be up to double the price as it is right now. And the main problem with the whole proposal is that it doesn't solve the stated problem. So the main reason why it is the tax should be increased, or they want to increase the tax, is because it's stated that vaping could be a gateway to smoking. And science already showed that that is not the case, not for adults. The Cochrane report, Queen's Mary University, they all found that there is no evidence of a gateway. And yesterday, a brand new study from the University of California also found that there is no gateway for underage people, so also not for teenagers. So this won't change the current trajectory, but it creates new problems. First of all, it reduces the price difference between cigarettes and the less harmful vaping. So a lot of current vapers will be pushed back to the more harmful product, namely cigarettes. And also from a health equity perspective, it's a problem because we know that smoking rates are the highest among low-income groups. And with this increased prices, we make it harder for those people to switch to less harmful alternative and to improve their health.
In terms of vaping being less harmful, how does it compare in regards to smoking? We know it's commonly referred to as a harm reduction tool or a way of quitting smoking, but how does the risk compare between vaping and cigarettes?
Public Health England found already in 2015 that vaping is 95% less harmful compared to smoking. And King's College just last year confirmed those results with the largest literature review of its kind. So it's at least 95% less harmful because there is no combustion involved anymore. And every smoker who switches from cigarettes to vaping is a win for public health, and that is the way we should see it. So making it more expensive actually will hurt people and their health. Canada should actually go the opposite direction and embrace those products to help more people to switch to those products.
And specifically on youth, because those who defend the tax will say that despite your criticism of it, it would make it more expensive for youth to start vaping. Is that an effective way to stop youth from trying vapes? Because obviously they're age restricted for a reason. Youth shouldn't have access to them. Is taxation an effective way to stop kids from accessing vape products?
You already mentioned it. Vaping is already illegal for those age groups. So the price itself won't make too much of a difference because it always depends then where they get it from. And higher prices will increase the black market. So access will be there, and the black market doesn't really care about taxes, as we know. So the tax won't affect the youth access to it, but quite the contrary, make it way harder for adults to switch to vaping. So I think that is not the path forward. If we want to help young people, we need to actually listen to them and fight the reasons why they start vaping or smoking or similar activities, and that is bad circumstances in their life, and we need to improve them and help them with better schooling, better healthcare, better mental care, and that will be the way forward. But unfortunately, politicians often opt for the easy way.
And we're back on Forum Daily. I'm sitting down with Michael Landl, director of the World Vapers Alliance, talking about the debate over vape taxation and youth vaping. Michael, you've mentioned some pretty strong arguments in terms of youth access to vaping and the consequences of higher taxation in terms of driving people back to smoking. I want to shift gears here to another major policy discussion when it comes to youth vaping, which is flavors. Many public health experts have argued that flavors are what entice minors to use vape products and want to ban flavors. What is your position on policies that seek to ban vape flavors?
Yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to flavors, there's a lot of misunderstanding out there as well. If it were about the taste, why people start vaping or smoking, then we wouldn't see any smoker, because nobody smokes his first cigarette and thinks, oh, wow, this cigarette tastes awful, beautiful or good. So we wouldn't have any smokers if it were about the taste, and that's simply not the case, and it's not true. The thing with flavors is that adults like them as well, and every ice cream shop is evidence for that. We need different flavors, and if we want to get people away from cigarettes, we need to offer them different kind of flavors and not the exact flavor as of the product they want to switch away. And as I said, with youth, it's the same. Before vaping, young people started to smoke, and there were no flavors. So the flavors itself is not the reason. We need to look deeper into that. And we already know that young people tend to do riskier things if they are not satisfied in their life. So we need to improve those and not fight flavors, because especially the flavors, and it's scientifically also proven that they help adults to stay away from cigarettes. Actually, the Yale
I was just going to say, what is the data on how flavors help adults quit smoking?
Yeah, there's a very interesting study from Yale School of Public Health, and they found that those vapers who use flavors compared to those who use tobacco flavors have a 230% higher chance to actually quitting cigarettes. And it's also quite logic, because we need different tastes. It's called flavor fatigue. If we only have one, we get used to it, don't like it anymore, and people go to a different alternative. And if there is only tobacco flavor in vaping, then the alternative is cigarettes. And that's the last thing we want people to offer as an alternative. It's way better to have just the apple instead of melon flavor for vapes.
And in Canada, nationally, provincially, and locally, virtually at every level of government, Canada has championed harm reduction for other substances, whether that be safe injection sites or drug exchange programs and things like that. Why do you feel that there's such a disparity between embracing harm reduction in one aspect of substance use and not when it comes to getting smokers away from cigarettes?
Actually, I think it's even worse than that, because if we compare the smoking rates from Canada internationally, Canada is actually doing quite well. And if we look at Health Canada, on their website, it's stated that vaping is less harmful than smoking, and smokers who are not able to quit should try vaping. So actually, there is some parts of the policy which is open to harm reduction when it comes to tobacco harm reduction as well. But unfortunately, we don't see this trend coming through. And I think there are two reasons for it. One of it is misinformation, that politicians, but also media, are often misinformed about the actual risks when it comes to smoking versus vaping. But also some kind of populism. As I said, fixing housing or schooling or mental health, that's way harder than just proposing a flavor ban with quick results, but then with unintended consequences, which are very negative. And I think to break this circle, we just need better information and more evidence-based policy.
We have about 40 seconds left here. Where have we seen the consequences of banning flavors?
For example, Estonia already 3 years ago banned flavors, and now they followed up. What do vapers do 3 years later? And it turned out 60% of all the vapers are still using flavors, which means there are only two options where they can get it: on the black market or mix them on their own. Both have no quality control, no age check, so it's very suboptimal, and the worst results are there compared to having a legalized market for it.
Well, thank you very much for sitting down with us. We really appreciate your perspective here.
Thank you for having me.